All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for watching the Healthy Project podcast. I have a great guest in the building today. We have Katie Milioni with MyHabeats. Katie, thank you so much for being on with me today.
The pleasure is mine, Corey. Thank you very much. I appreciate you take time for me and for my endeavor and my vision, my habits. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, let's kind of start there. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you got started.
Yes. No, my background is clinical research, and I spent many years doing clinical research and development. I have worked more than 20 years in pharmaceutical industry. I was a medical director. So my team and myself worked establishing new drugs for various therapeutic areas. I worked with patients, but actually, as my role was within the industry, I was not able to talk to patients. However, we were running a clinical study on a diabetes drug, and we had one patient, Varvara, who was the most disciplined one. She was, taking the time to attend all the visits to the clinic. One day, though, I received a phone call from her telling me that that's it. She quitted from the clinical study and she's going to do a bariatric surgery. And I was surprised, as you can understand, and I said, oh, you are going to do that, and you were convinced. That's great, of course, for you, but so she started crying, and she said, I'm very happy, very pleased that my endocrinologist suggested to me that my last attempt to stop the diabetes and regain my life was actually the bariatric surgery. But I'm afraid, Katie, how am I going to comply with surgeons' recommendations, because they explained to me this is a new life, but 30% of the surgery depends on the surgery itself, 70% depend on behavior change. That was my starting point of digging deeply into behavior change. I'm not a behavior change scientist. I'm a clinical researcher. I have done pharmacology clinical studies in Europe and in San Francisco, but I attended the Founder Institute Entrepreneurial Workshop, and I started digging deeply. I founded a research lab with Olga, who is a behavior scientist, and with other behavior scientists around the globe, mainly from Europe, and we developed the first version of MyHabeats, and that was the starting point, Corey.
Wow.
Patient who just called me from participating in a clinical study, and she changed my life, because I have quitted my job into the industry, and I have devoted all my work and time into my habits.
Wow. So it started with one person excited about being able to get rid of, improve her diabetes and improve her life, but scared to death about how she was going to maintain it.
Yes, and of course, these things don't happen like that. No, during my job, as I told you, I was responsible for reviewing all the informed consent for various clinical studies. I was medical director in, say, number one pharmaceutical company. I will not name it, but I was responsible with my team and myself reviewing the informed consent. One day, I remember I entered my colleagues' offices and I said, "Come on, guys, how did you read this informed consent for? It was for a cancer, for an anti-cancer drug. Are you going to sign ever if you had cancer? I mean, this informed consent, 15 pages." And I was really astonished by the fact that all these people who participate in the clinical trials sign all this informed consent. I felt like, I owe to them. So before Varvara calling me, I was attending at the European Forum for Patients Associations, and I was also having a lot of discussions with patients, regulators. This was, of course, the framework of my role as medical director. So it was a consequence of all the work I have been doing in the industry. It was the fact that I had an admiration of all these patients. Thanks to them, we have aspirin, we have all these drugs available to us. And I think we didn't do enough for them. So this was something, burning in my mind, in my heart. This appreciation of their time, of their concern, of the time they had to devote to participating in a clinical study. It was, I don't know if you maybe you have never participated in a clinical study, so you can't imagine the time, the energy, the emotion that you have to put into participating in a clinical study.
Right.
And you are not paid, you do that voluntarily. So the adherence to a clinical study is immense, is something that nobody else can imagine if the ones who have already participated. So I was emotionally very much connected to all these patients who couldn't really meet them because of my role. So that's why I say they are patients participating in clinical studies. They are data with a soul.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because they're taking their time and their effort in trying to help you, and they're trying to help themselves. And I'm sure it is physically, mentally, and emotionally draining at times.
Yeah. Very, very, very. And nobody, even in the industry, we rarely talk about this, about how much we owe to all these people around the globe.
Yeah.
So this started like that, and I'm grateful to Varvara, who now, of course, participates in our company. She's member. She's the person. She's, let's say, the patient support officer, the patient advocacy officer. So she talks to other people who join MyHabeats, and we in MyHabeats team, we are really grateful to have Varvara, and me personally to have met her.
Yeah, that's very cool that she's a part and able to help other people get through this, because she has that experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like with behavior change and changing habits, it's always nice to hear from someone that has been through what you're about to go through, especially with the surgery that you guys kind of focus on with bariatric surgery.
You know, Corey, sometimes when we have meetings and we have to discuss how we're going to do and what else, and she tells us about what discussions she had with other new habiteers who joined MyHabeats, who downloaded MyHabeats. I mean, she talks with passion and enthusiasm and feeling grateful as well. So much better than Olga, who is the co-founder, and myself. So I'm really very happy. I love her.
Yeah, someone they can connect to. So, I would like to, Katie, really dive into the MyHabeats application, because it sounds like you guys had, is this your kind of second phase of it, or kind of where are you at with the application, or would you like to talk about that more?
Yeah. Yes. We have been working since 2016, 2017, actually. We have established the first version, and this is the one we used to make the first proof of concept study. So the proof of concept study had been undergone here in Athens in 2 university clinics and Center of Excellence for Bariatric and Metabolic Surgery. We have taken the first results, and then we underwent into a systemic literature review study, and this helped us really focus on what are the elements of behavior change that we have to implement really the second and the final version of MyHabeats. So we came down to scale and change, improve the alpha version of MyHabeats, and incorporated 3 elements: the digital companion, the self-monitoring aspects, and the gamification elements. All these features came out from our literature review, which actually was published in the Journal of the American Preventive Medicine in May or June, I think, 2019. So it was just last year it was published. So now we are really on the second phase. We are live. We are available. Habits is available in the marketplaces of Google Play and App Store. 50 euros for, actually right now it's forever for the ones who download it now. We have around 600 people who have done bariatric and metabolic surgery and have downloaded here in Greece and in Czech Republic, because in Czech Republic the Professor Martin Friend is director of the IPSOF, the International Federation for the Surgery of Obesity, is also our consultant. And MyHabeats is already translated in 4 languages. Available in 4 languages is, of course, English, Greek, Czech, and Portuguese. I don't know, should I continue, or you want me to ask a question, or maybe you want me?
Keep going, whatever. I mean, we got, I want people to kind of understand what you're doing. I think
yes. So, as I mentioned before, our target is people with obesity who undergo bariatric and metabolic surgery in order, of course, to lose their weight. We talk about morbid obesity, BMI over 40, or BMI bigger or equal to 35, but with comorbidity diseases, let's say diabetes, like Varvara. So, in our team, we have behavior scientists, we have bariatric surgeons, and we have patients, people like Varvara. The mechanism of action of MyHabeats is really, it acts really like a behavioral vaccine. The term is not ours, we have not invented this term. There are research papers that already discuss about behavioral drug and behavioral vaccine. What happens right now is the surgeons, bariatric surgeons that are our clients, our partners, recommend MyHabeats immediately after the surgery to their patients. So what for example, Varvara has done, and she's so happy and grateful for MyHabeats. There is a digital companion. We name this companion Lino or Lina, and this companion helps them throughout the journey. As we have discussed in the past, Corey, and you have many times mentioned it, change is a process. It's not an event.
Absolutely.
So we agree completely. You are a fan of behavior change, and many times you approach this subject very well. So it's a process and it's a journey. So I don't know if you have watched our video, but we kind of use the metaphor like the adherence to the surgeon's recommendations post-surgery. It's like, you know, journey with a train. And when you enter this train of MyHabeats, in order to reach your goal, which of course is not to lose your weight, because during the surgery, you have already, for sure, you are going to lose your weight. Problem is, as Professor Fried said, 30% is the surgery, and this is about the success of the surgery, and 70% behavior change. What we want for the people who joined us, who jump into the train, is not to take their weight after 3 or 4 years, be vaccinated with the right behavioral behaviors, with the right developing skills, that we want to establish with these people.
Right.
MyHabeats so urges people like Varvara, and with the help of Lina or Lina, the digital companion, who is there not to stigmatize, not to judge, just to remind them to set the cues as a behavior science applies, in order to take the frequent meals that their surgeon told them. Because, you know, they are not hungry. They're not hungry. So forget to eat. So Lino is there to remind them, Lino and Lina is those people,
Yeah.
digital companions.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, Lina. So, Lino and Lina, I will make an interruption, comes from the word lean, lean. Don't want them to be lean. They become lean because of the surgery. So, come back to our discussion. So, Lino and Lina send the reminders, personalized reminders, depending on the time. For example, everybody takes their breakfast to have frequent meals. They might take 6, 7, 8 because they eat small bites, very small bites. And they remind them also to learn how to eat with awareness.
Yeah.
And because after the surgery, it's like a new self. It's somebody else. You can imagine that.
Yeah.
After doing the surgery, it's like a newborn.
Yeah.
So they start to learn how to eat. Because in the first phase, they drink only liquids, then they take blended food, and then they come to MyHabeats where they eat solid food. So we present the plate, the healthy plate, the 4 categories. So they start be educated, but they are educated themselves with the slight support of digital companions. So they learn to fill the plate with all the categories, with proteins, especially proteins, carbohydrates and fat and veggies and fruits, etc. So then they learn by using our hunger scale how the feeling is of post-eating. So then they learn how, if one food category or one food is not good for them, they make them feel, very, very heavy or full. So then they learn not to eat this food. So they really take management of themselves. So it's a frequency of meals, how their plate is filled. They must take at least 60 grams of proteins because of the surgery. They learn how to feel about specific foods, so their emotions and their feelings. Then we enter using the gamification elements. When they earn 180 points, there's a stage 2 opening up where they start to record the actions based on the 4 categories: exercise, self-control, relationships, and body image. So MyHabeats is about 2 stages. Stage 1, about healthy eating habits. Stage 2, about lifestyle changes in domains that I just described a minute ago. So when a patient undergoes bariatric surgery, actually, what does he do? She do? They delegate their control, they delegate their choice, the surgeons. MyHabeats' aim is, after the journey, when they get off the train, be autonomous, gain back their control in life. They can do it. We know that they can do it.
Yeah, I really like that approach, Katie, as you guys are taking with the platform, because when I see patients in my office that have had the surgery before and maybe gained some weight back or just kind of lost control, they didn't have a resource like that to kind of help them understand what they need to do along the way after surgery. They knew everything before surgery and why it would benefit them and things they should do. But once the surgery was there and over with, and that 70% that they had to really focus on became pretty loud and important, it was like, okay, now what? And I know a lot of them have had some kind of counseling afterward, or maybe were handed like a folder or something of what to do, but they didn't have a companion or something with them where they can have that. Yeah.
You know, Corey, I'm very happy you bring it up, of course, due to your experience. We don't say that, it's only this digital tool. That's it. No. There are people that want synergy of tools, a synergy of approaches, and some other not. So it's completely personalized. We say that you can take MyHabeats because surgeons recommend it, because actually it helps also their work. Right. So that's why our business model is through recommendations from physicians, from surgeons, because it's very difficult when you have to redo the bariatric surgery. Then the complications are very, very, very serious, and it gets very tough for the surgeons, and of course for the patients themselves to redo the surgery. So it's actually like helps them. It's a weapon into surgeons, surgery success, and don't discuss about the patients, the people who have undergone a bariatric surgery, because it establishes the new development skills, the new habits forever.
Right.
For a healthier, happier life. That's it. So self-management becomes more and more important in health right now, because we cannot have more physicians, more beds. I mean, health systems are really do struggle, especially now in the COVID-19 era. Everybody requires more and more and more from the health system, but how much can this health system dare to do? So self-management is a new approach. I think it's here to stay, and we want to have autonomous self-care patients.
Yeah.
And this is our goal. This is our vision, actually.
Yeah, I can only imagine that there's just a bigger spotlight on platforms and like MyHabeats because of COVID-19, right? Because management of your care is so, it's always been important, but now we understand how important it is because of what currently is going on with the pandemic. So like have you noticed with anybody that's using your platform, what are some of the key, I guess, tools they're using? What was kind of are there any like points that people, I guess, when they go through the surgery and they download MyHabeats, is there one specific area you're finding people that are struggling with behavior change that they're using with the platform? Or is it just kind of everything is built to be used all together?
I will try to answer your questions. We noticed that there is a difficulty in record keeping. Record keeping. I mean, they must input data.
Right.
Must input data, but some people, for example, say that, I'm very busy. I have 2 kids. I have work. I have to cook. I'm not able to write down because I don't know if it was clear, but maybe I have to point it that you must, of course, input data. Your data means that you must enter. After the digital companion reminds you to take your breakfast, you must enter from what category of foods your breakfast was. For example, it was, I don't know, almond milk and fruits, etc. So you must enter the data. If you don't enter the data, MyHabeats doesn't exist. And you know very well, Corey, because you are a behavior change specialist, that record keeping, data input is essential if you want to modify your behaviors.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, there are thousands of papers, research papers that have really pinpointed that you have to write down. You don't write down, but now you enter into your smartphone, but still you need some time into input your data. Otherwise, the smartphone, which is of course a smartphone, and in which of course we use algorithms, not help you. So we noticed so that for some people, men and women, same, I would say, depending on their time, on their life, environment and routines, it's difficult to enter the data. I think this is the area where they struggle with MyHabeats. Once they take up this habit of writing down, of entering the data, they are very happy. So we face this struggle. But what behavior is the one that people post-surgery struggle? This was, I think, your question,
Yep.
correct?
Yeah.
Eating.
Yeah. That's why I
Can
figured.
you imagine a person who used to eat large quantities, and now they have to eat very frequently? They have to eat small bites. They struggle with this after the surgery. Yeah, they struggle. Of course, Corey, the most important notion that during our interviews and during our patient focus groups, and especially men noticed that from a study we're running just right now at Imperial College at London, that, okay, we have done bariatric surgery, but the mind is still the same. So it takes time to change mindset, attitude, and it takes time. You have to practice MyHabeats and all your new behaviors in order your mind not being, feeling like old person really was salivating, how can I say, when they were seeing a bowl of spaghetti, or imagining that they won't eat still big spaghetti with meat sauce. So these are, I think, from our experience until today, the two biggest struggles post-surgery that the mind has to follow as well.
Yeah, I think what you just said, that should be journaled as well. I'm really a big proponent of journaling, especially for people who are trying to learn a new behavior. And I have the same issues with patients I see as well. The way I try to explain journaling, not only their emotions or what they're eating, not only what they're eating, but their emotions, because I like to say, when you're starting a new behavior, you're not journaling it. It's like reading a book without opening it. Like, you may know kind of the idea of the book by the title, but if you don't open the book and start reading, you have no idea what it's about.
Excellent.
So if you're not tracking what you're eating or inputting that data, you have no idea how it's affecting your body. You know what I mean? Or you don't know how you're feeling about it. So it's really important, especially when you're trying to change a behavior, when you haven't changed that behavior. For some of these people who are going through bariatric surgery in years, they've just been eating that same way for a long time. So it's very important to input that data.
Right. And I don't know your opinion and what is your reflection from what I've said about the struggle that regardless of downloading or not MyHabeats, 1 month post-surgery, mind, and gradually also, if you don't follow the behavior change up or discussions or consultations with a health coach or a behaviors consultant, your mind will not change, and you will feel emotionally disrupted. You will feel that something is wrong. Nothing is wrong, but your brain has to follow your body image figure, so and kilos, and so this is very important notion, I believe.
I agree. I agree. You got to get your mind right, and you got to almost like exercise your mind into a whole nother pattern of thinking and believing and doing. Your life has changed through that surgery. So
Yeah.
you got to do some different things.
And since your body image really changes so drastically and so dramatically fast, you need absolutely to have a digital companion or a physical, consultant to help you approach this new self that you succeeded to have after the surgery. And remember, the goal, if there is a goal, although we don't start with a goal, how many kilos, because this is all set because you have done a surgery. So don't talk too much about the goal, but we talk about the change and the process. And that at the end of the journey, when you get off the train, after being at least 6 months with MyHabeats, you will take back your control. You will be autonomous. This is really huge. This is a skill that maybe all people we must take. All people we must learn and develop the skill.
Absolutely.
Of have our control. And we target this audience first. Of course, we have other plans, future plans. We are going to develop further MyHabeats with some new features, most probably by mid of next year. We continue our research in new areas, also with different countries among Europe. This is our vision, really, to have all these people, because we talk about morbid obesity is about 55 million people worldwide. Can you imagine this number? It's huge.
Yeah.
So, take back your control, feel confident, your self-efficacy belief is very high, because the ones who believe that they can take it, they can take back their control, they will achieve it. This is also based on research. You believe it, you do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Katie, thank you so much for your time. If anybody wanted to learn more about MyHabeats or learn more about you, where can they find you?
They can email me, katie@myhabeats.co, or just entering our website and give their email. I will be happy, me and my team, to answer all questions. We will soon be also doing a marketing activity, a digital marketing activity, US as well. So looking forward to receive news and emails from you, and the pleasure was mine, Corey.
What's that?
The pleasure is mine to have this talk today with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And everyone,
have a nice morning.
Yes.
A lovely day.
Yes, it's a lovely day. And thank you guys for listening to the Healthy Project podcast. I'll talk to you next time.